Alright, so the Mobula6 is here. It's going to be a long video, so let's just get right into it. This is everything that comes in the box. You get the drone, of course, and yes, it is under 20 grams. I already measured that. You get 4 of these 1S LiPos, 300 milliamp hour, 3060C, and PH 2.0 connector. We'll talk about that later. You do get a USB charger. And you get some spare props. These are the Gem Fan 3-bladed 31mm props, prop removal tool, screwdriver, and some spare screws. So those are for the motor, and then the black ones are for the canopy. And I think that's it. You get also your standard instructions, Happymodel type of instructions, binding, that kind of stuff. We've seen that before, and that's everything you get in the box. And I have confirmed that you do get 4 batteries and the charger in this package here, and this will cost about $80. I think $79 is their retail price for what you see here in this screen right now. So it's not bad, considering the cost of the one from Beta FPV. I think it's like $109, I believe. I might be mistaken. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, and it doesn't. I don't think it came with too many batteries in one battery. Yeah, I'll have to go look at that listing. They might have changed it. So, but yeah, this one definitely costs less and it weighs less. It comes with 25,000 kV motors, 0802. Don't know how accurate the kV is. This frame here is, I thought it was new, but I think it's pretty much the same as the original UR65 frame, or that's what it seems like. I'll measure that here in a second. But it does come with this new all-in-one flight controller board. This one here, this is the Crazy Bee F4 Lite. That's what they're calling it. Yeah, the F4 Lite. So this one now integrates the 25 milliwatt video transmitter onto the board. It is a thinner board, so and this does have the BB2 ESCs for those of you guys that are looking to purchase the RPM filter ESC upgrade. This one will support DShot 600 versus the Meteor 65 one from Beta FPV does not. But this one does only come with the PH 2.0 connector, and of course has the built-in Frsky SPI receiver. I think there's FlySky and DSMX versions available as well. I think this one here is the receiver antenna, and this copper one is the VTX antenna, but I'm not 100% sure on that. USB port's still coming out the bottom. But yeah, pretty. That's an F4, by the way. Yeah, MPU 6000 gyro. Really compact, has a lot of stuff on here. Let's see, just show you how much this thing weighs. This is obviously the main reason they've gotten the weight down, is because they've integrated the video transmitter and made the board lighter. So that's on with the plug. It's under 5 grams. That's pretty crazy. And then this is the frame. They sent a sample frame as well. That's on the actual Mobula6, and this frame weighs 3.24 grams. And then this is a UR65 frame, and it's 3.15 grams. So it weighs less. So the frame weight's a little bit more. It's like about 1/10 of a gram more, at least according to scale. Looks the same to me. I don't know. You guys see any noticeable differences? Yeah, it looks like it's the same frame. So obviously gonna have some slight manufacturing variances in the weight because it's plastic. It's injected molded plastic, so 1/10 of a gram isn't that big of a deal. And for those of you wondering, they did send the 19,000 kV motors as well, so I'll test those in this video. That's why this video is going to be so long. So for some of you that don't know, this does come in 2 versions. So you can get the 25,000 kV version or the 19,000 kV version. And the reason they're doing that is basically for flight time. So for those of you guys that are flight time weenies, you're going to get the you should get the 19,000 kV version, so you can get the longer flight time. And if you're looking for freestyle performance, you get the 25,000 kV version, and yeah, you're going to get a 2 to 2.5 minute flight time, but you're going to be able to do acro tricks with it and not get a lot of yaw washout. At least that's what I've seen from the videos. We'll find out. You have a different canopy on here now. And this camera is also different. This is the Runcam Nano 3. It seems pretty good, at least indoors, from what I've seen. I haven't tested outdoors yet, but yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, it's a lot lighter and smaller. This is why this whole thing is lighter. This camera is pretty light. I haven't taken it out or measured it yet. It is using a little 3D printer part, I think, that holds it in here, and then there's like a screw on the side. And this is what the spare canopy looks like. So the canopy it looks like it is injected molded plastic. It's kind of flexible, so I think that's why you see some jello in some of the videos. But that means it's going to give in crashes and not crack. And so that's probably a good thing, although I don't like the fact that the front is not secured down. It's only the two on the side and then one in the back. So it's similar to the way the newbie drone canopy, Goober canopy, works, but that one is a lot tougher. It doesn't flex, and I know that thing is pretty much indestructible. So this is what the Goober canopy looks like here. And then again, one in the back and two on the sides. It does flex a little bit. Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong. It just feels like this plastic's a lot tougher than this plastic. This plastic just feels weak, kind of, I don't know. It doesn't feel weak, but just feels lighter. I think that's probably where they're getting the weight gain or weight reduction is they shaved off the canopy. So hopefully this will hold up in crashes. I mean, it's got the way it's designed, and the cutouts and everything is designed to flex and give. So it should hold up, hopefully. And then this is what the camera holder looks like. So there's two screws here in the back to hold the camera on, and then you have two screws on the side right there, and that holds the camera into the canopy. And it is it's fairly flexible. I don't think this is 3D printed though. I'm not sure. I think this might be injected molded plastic. I'm not really sure though, just by looking at it. But that's how the camera is mounted. Anyway, so back to the drone. I have already flown it a little bit indoors, and for the most part, I would say that if you're flying at kind of mid-throttle range to say 40-50% throttle range, kind of cruising around indoors, not going too fast, you get decent flight time. It's like, I don't know, I've gotten up to 3 minutes, so definitely more than the Meteor 65 for sure. But I think this is going to be more better suited for acro outdoors if you're flying it really fast, and you're going to give it a lot more camera angle, of course, so you can go faster and do more tricks. I did fly one time outside, and yeah, it definitely has the performance for outdoor freestyles. If that's what you're looking for, this is definitely one you want to consider. Now there's a couple things that you should be aware of. They put 406, Betaflight 406 on here, and they have it configured with motor stop on and air mode off out of the box. And in that configuration it flies fine. So if you have air mode on a switch, you can take off with air mode off and turn on air mode in the air, and you're fine. But if you have air mode on and the props turn on when you try and take off, it will, well, at least for me, it shot to the moon, or in my case shot to the ceiling, because of the issue with Betaflight 40 and the D-term feedback loop. So I would recommend that you put air mode on a switch and leave air mode off. Yeah, that's an issue with that. So I am actually going to go and convert this over to Betaflight 4.1. I'm actually talking to Happymodel right now, and hopefully they'll switch it, because I know a lot of people, you guys, will fly with air mode on. Some of your beginner guys, I think I think the reason why they always send these out with air mode off is because a lot of beginners will crash, and then with air mode on, the props will continue to spin. Something will be stuck. The prop will be, will be prevented from spinning because it's stuck on something or caught on something, and that will burn an ESC out real quick. So that's why they ship it that way. For those of you guys that are more advanced and know about that and know how to disarm right away, having air mode on is not a big deal. It isn't a big deal for me. It's just that it's going to have, they've tuned it so that they've tuned it such that it works with air mode off. So just be aware of that. You may need to add some more filtering, something like that. They may send out a patch, a filter patch for that too as well. So be aware and just be on the lookout for that. But otherwise, once you're in the air, it flies totally fine once you get into the air. So like what I was doing is I will let it, if you have air mode on, I will let it sit on the ground, let the voltage drop a little bit, and then take off. If you try and take off at the full voltage, then that's when it shoots to the moon. So that's how I was getting around that problem. But I'm just going to go right to 411 because it doesn't have that issue. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you some flights on the 25,000 kV motor setup, and then I'll come back and put the 19,000 kV motors on and talk about that a little bit later in the video. Alright, so there's a lot of jello in this camera, and I think it's because of the way it's mounted. It's not hard mounted, it's on like, it's kind of semi-flexible plastic mount. Now, you can do split S's with this. There's a lot of jello. Alright, so it can do a power loop without doing a yaw washout. Let's see, let's try another one here. Alright, so that's good. So if you're looking to do some outdoor freestyle with a 65mm whoop, maybe this is it. I'm getting voltage sag pretty quickly there, but no yaw washout, at least as far as I can tell, other than the massive amount of jello. It's not bad. If you're wondering why I'm sticking around here, it's because it's been raining the last 3 days and totally flooded everywhere. I don't think the flight time is going to be that great on this high kV motor if you're doing a lot of tricks. I'm already at 3.3, 3.2 volts. Yeah, this thing landed now. So I didn't have enough voltage there to push myself. As soon as I went full throttle, the voltage sagged. So that means I'm pretty much at the end of the battery. And you should probably do the tricks like that at the beginning of the battery. So let's get to another battery here. Alright, so there's a second battery. It's very jumpy. Let me take off, so just be aware of that. I think the min throttle is pretty high. Yeah, you can do power loops without doing the yaw washout, which is the first, I think it's the first 65mm whoop that I've flown that does that out of the box, or doesn't do that out of the box. I think all of them pretty much do that. Yeah, split S's, no problem. If you're doing some outdoor whoop racing, this is going to be a freaking fast one. You're going to need a really large indoor space. My house is too small to fly this inside like this. That's why I'm in this little small space. But outdoors, no problem. And very smooth.
Yeah, I already got a low battery warning right there. So you get some voltage sag. Thinking like a 2-minute flight like this, doing some outdoor freestyle, is about what you can expect. Yeah, low battery warning. So if you're looking for flight time, get the 19,000 kV version, that's what I'd say. I think you'll probably get closer to a 4-minute flight. Yeah, indoors you don't get quite as much jello in low light, but with the sun out like this, you get quite a lot of jello. Anyone has suggestions on maybe putting some dampening or foam inside maybe in the canopy that might secure the camera a little better? I'll look into that, but if anyone has any suggestions, yeah, let me know down in the comments. 2.5 minutes and one last power loop here. Oh no! Land now! Yeah, that was a bad idea. That was the end of the battery. It barely got over. And yeah, so you do your tricks at the beginning of the battery.
Alright, in this part of the video we'll talk about the 19,000 kV motors here. And I think these are just like the same as the old 19,000 kV. These aren't any new or different. I don't know what's really different between the 19,000 and the 25,000 kV motors, but the 25,000 kV motors seem less noisy than the 19,000. Of course, they're newer, so they've been developed more recently. The 19,000 kV has been around for a long time, probably almost 2 years, so maybe the design is a little bit different. However, the most important thing is the weight here. So they only gave me one RunCam Nano 3, so I transferred it over, as you can see from there. I basically built out this frame with the motors and the new flight controller, and since the camera is just plug in and you just screw in the 3 screws here, it's pretty easy to just move it over. So it's going to go at the same weight, 19.7 grams. It's the same as before. The motors I don't think are going to be that much different in weight, but this is now less than my latest custom build. This is 20.47, 20.5 grams, and here you can see I did all the soldering of the wires. Just save weight. That is my lightest custom build. Of course, this still has the plugs, so you could even save more weight if you get rid of the plugs, but yeah, that is a very difficult job to do. In any event, it's up, see, 20.5, 19.7, it's about 0.8 of a gram lighter here now, compared to my custom build. You could probably shave a little bit more weight somewhere, I'm not sure, but you see the advantages of integrating the VTX in here, and obviously with a lighter, smaller camera and lens, that's where you're saving a little bit of weight. So the performance gain isn't that much noticeable. It's pretty similar, especially for indoor flights, which is, I would, if you're doing like indoor whip racing, you're not going to notice too much of a difference. You might get a little bit more flight time. It may handle a little bit better in the turns. Honestly, it wasn't too noticeably different from my custom build with the 19,000 kV motors. It seemed pretty similar in terms of just, flying it inside the house. Honestly, if you're flying in a small space, just stick with the 19,000 kV motors. Yeah, you can fly faster with the 25,000 kV outside. You can't fly it the same way indoors in a small space. And so the advantage of the 25,000 kV motors over the 19,000 kV motors is kind of lost, because you're not really taking advantage of that higher kV like you can in an outdoor situation. So for this outdoors freestyle, I think that's the way to go. No yaw washouts or weird tendencies. It flew really good. Power loops, split S is no problem. Can't really do that on the lower kV motor outside. But for indoor flight, yeah, you can fly this one slower and get a little more flight time, but if you want the maximum flight time, close to 4 minutes on the 300 milliamp hour battery, you just go with the lower kV motor. You're not going to notice that much of a difference in terms of indoor performance. unless you're just like a spectacularly good pilot and can take advantage of the higher KV motors in an indoor situation. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I am going to experiment with these higher KV motors and switch out the connector to the BT 2.0 connector. Again, I think that for this, because it's so light and for freestyle, it may seem a little bit of an advantage, especially at the end of the battery where you saw that you were having like massive voltage sag. So it's possible that switching the connector might help in that situation. I don't know yet. I'm going to find out later, and then I'll be in a future video, so stay tuned for that.